Welcome to the Relic Rush Guide. Let's start with the most important thing, how to win.
To win, you need to complete 3 objectives. First, collect your target number of relics. Second, collect 10 mana tokens.
And finally, once you have those, you must end your turn with your avatar on the central oracle tile.
By the way, the target number of relics depends on the number of players.
Correct. Now, before you start a game, you must build the maze.
Assemble the 6-part board and work together to place walls until you are happy with the result.
But make sure you don't close off any area smaller than 5 cells.
Once the walls are up, replace 6 of them with one-way tunnels.
After that, place the 18 relic tiles face down, then 2 volcanoes and 2 blue portals.
Then place 9 guardians and 9 obstacles.
Pay attention to these fine points. The 2 volcanoes must have at least 3 cells between them at all times.
Same goes for the 2 blue portals. Also, you may not place 2 guardians or 2 obstacles on the same cell.
And lastly, volcanoes remove guardians and obstacles and prevent placing them on volcano cells. Roll a die to claim your starting cell around the oracle. The lowest roll plays first.
Now you can draw your first 6 spell cards and you're ready to play.
What's next?
Let's talk about what happens during a turn.
Every turn in Relic Rush is divided into 2 distinct parts, played in order.
Part 1 is all about action points, spells, and mana.
Start by rolling the dice.
The number you rolled is the sum of your action points for this turn.
Pick up a roll reminder token with this number to remember it throughout the turn.
Spend action points to cast spell cards from your hand. Missing action points to cast your last spell?
You may spend mana tokens to replace missing action points for casting your last spell.
But this is important.
You must have at least 1 remaining action point to do so.
Right. On the other hand, when you're done casting, you might have unused action points remaining at the end of your turn.
You have 2 optional cleanup actions to spend the leftover APs.
It costs 2 unused action points to pick up a mana token and 1 unused action point to discard a spell card from your hand.
This moves us to part 2, housekeeping. If you ended your turn on a relic tile, you flip the tile face up and pick up 1 relic card.
The enchanted tile will have an effect this turn only, and the new relic card will become active as soon as it is picked up.
The new relic card will replace the effect of any previously held relic card. Inactive relic cards are placed face down on your board.
Before you draw back up to a hand of 6 spell cards, apply any effects from your active relic and enchanted tiles.
Then your turn is over. Any unused AP at the end of a turn is permanently lost.
Moving on. Let's explain the board and how the different game components interact with it.
The maze consists of elements that dictate where you can and cannot go.
But remember, spell cards are used to do almost everything here.
Exactly, whether you are placing, traversing, or removing elements.
There is a spell card to do it. More about that later. There are also some actions that are performed by mana instead of casting spells.
We will cover that later as well. Walls, one-way tunnels, obstacles, and guardians are placed vertically between the cells.
Walls block movement completely. Tunnels act as a solid wall on one side, but let you walk through it from the other side.
Then we have 4 types of obstacles: rivers, mountains, jungles, and deserts.
You can't just walk over them, you need to cast the right conquest spells to cross them.
We'll cover guardians in the next part. Next are volcanoes and portals. Volcanoes destroy any guardians and obstacles on their cell and cannot be stepped on.
Portals allow you to travel, but passing through requires 1 movement from a travel spell, and you may not use a teleport spell to go through them.
And here is a crucial rule. If you roll a 6 for action points, you have the option to move either a volcano or a portal.
You may flip a coin to decide which one gets moved, or decide in advance that the player who rolled 6 chooses.
On to the next part. You are not alone in the maze.
That's right, you will encounter guardians, which are monsters with a strength level between 3 and 10.
One of the options to get past a guardian is to battle it.
You do that by casting Charge or Slay and rolling the dice. Charge will determine the winner based on a single roll, while Slay allows a best out of 3 dice roll.
You must roll a higher number than the guardian's strength to win.
If you win, remove the guardian from the board, place your champion on the cell beyond the guardian, and continue your turn.
If there's a draw, the guardian stays, you don't cross, but your turn still continues.
But if you lose a battle against a guardian, part 1 of your turn ends immediately.
You lose all your remaining action points and skip straight to part 2 of your turn.
Now let's talk about PvP. You can battle rival players to steal their relics, and there are 2 ways to do that.
When your and your rival's avatars are on adjacent cells that are not separated by anything, you may spend 2 mana tokens to attack.
This attack is risky. If you lose, you will lose a relic.
Your other option is casting the challenge spell.
Casting Challenge would initiate a best 2 rolls out of 3 battle, regardless of avatar positions, and even if you lose, you will not lose a relic.
However, like when losing to a guardian, part 1 of your turn will end immediately.
But if you win, you will claim the loser's active relic and continue your turn.
And if they don't have an active relic, you will steal a random inactive one from their collection.
And of course, a draw changes nothing. You may continue your turn.
Correct. Let's talk a bit about spell cards next. Spell cards are the engine of the game. You start with 6 spell cards, and almost all of them cost action points to play. There are 6 categories.
Travel spells allow movement through the maze.
Conquest spells are used to fight guardians or bypass walls and obstacles.
Modification spells allow you to alter the board itself, like placing walls, moving obstacles, or rotating tiles.
Interaction spells target your rivals directly. You can target their spell cards, drain their mana, or force them to skip a turn.
Arch spells are rare and overpowered spells that cost more AP.
They allow exceptional actions like moving to any cell on the board.
Lastly, interference spells. These are played out of turn to block other players' spells.
They don't cost action points, but some require sacrificing other spell cards or mana to cast them.
Before moving on, let's quickly review the symbols on the cards.
Okay, let's start by looking at the action point cost in the corners.
Each little circle signifies 1 action point of cost, and each star 5 action points.
Stars are only present on arch spells, which are more expensive to cast. The dice on the edges of some of the cards indicate that this spell requires a dice roll.
A single die means you roll 1 die once, and 2 dice means you roll 2 dice once, like when you cast Charge, as we covered in the last part.
And if the 2 dice are multiplied by 3, you roll 2 dice 3 times, like when casting Slay or Challenge, which we also covered in the last part.
Now I think we can move on.
I agree. Let's discuss relics and enchanted tiles. As you move through the maze, your goal is to end your turn on the face-down relic tiles in order to pick up relic cards.
When you do, you flip the tile over. The physical tile stays on the board and becomes an enchanted tile.
Enchanted tiles trigger their effect when you flip them, but to experience that effect again, you must move off the tile and end another turn on it later.
Now, as we already mentioned, when you flip a tile, you also draw a relic card, which grants you a powerful ongoing effect as long as this relic is active.
You may only have 1 active relic at a time. If you pick up a new one, your old one is deactivated by flipping it face down.
All your collected relics are counted towards the relic target of the game.
But be warned, the effects of some of the enchanted tiles and some of your collected relics may not be very helpful.
On the contrary, there are quite a few negative effects you may have to endure on your journey.
Relics may not be dropped, they can only be lost to another player in a battle.
And if you lose your active relic, you may not reactivate another relic you are holding.
Now, let's discuss mana actions.
You acquire mana from relic and tile effects, and by converting remaining action points at the end of a turn at a rate of 2 APs for 1 mana token.
You may hold a maximum of 10 mana tokens, and it is also what you need to access the Oracle and win, but mana can also be used throughout the game.
For 2 mana, you can attack an adjacent rival, as we covered earlier.
For 4 mana, you can rotate a one-way tunnel 180 degrees.
For 6 mana, you can block a spell or remove a Forcefield token.
And for 8 mana, you can cast a Scribe Arch spell without holding the actual Scribe spell card.
Scribe is basically a wild card that acts as any travel, conquest, modification, or interaction spell.
And remember that if you have action points remaining but not enough to cast a spell, you may use mana tokens to replace the missing action points.
That's right, each mana token can replace 1 missing AP.
But only on the last spell you cast in a turn.
I think we can move on.
Let's look at Forcefield tokens. If you get hit by a Forcefield spell or step on a mage trap, you take a Forcefield token.
This means you don't roll for action points next turn.
So you won't perform any actions, but if you need to draw spell cards or have any active bonuses,
They are still enforced during the skip turn.
however, while you hold that token, you are immune to interaction spells from other players, though you also cannot cast interference spells yourself.
The token is removed immediately after your skip turn, but you can also pay 6 mana to remove it early and regain your turn.
Moving on.
Lastly, let's talk about game modes and team play. The game is designed for up to 6 avatars on the board.
If you're playing a free-for-all game with only 2 or 3 players, each player may control multiple avatars.
Specifically, up to 3 avatars each in a 2-player game or 2 avatars each in a 3-player game, keeping the board full. With 4, 5, or 6 players, each player controls a single avatar.
But if you prefer cooperation, you can play in teams.
In team play, you only control 1 avatar per player.
You can play in 2 teams with 2 to 3 players per team, or in 3 teams with 2 players per team.
Allied players should sit next to each other but may not play consecutively. After a turn of your team ends, the next team should play a turn.
The victory conditions adapt for teams. The relic target becomes a team target, meaning you combine your collected relics to reach the goal.
And to claim victory, it's enough for just 1 avatar from your team to reach the Oracle.
However, that specific avatar's owner must be the one holding the 10 mana tokens.
You can assist your teammates by casting Travel, Conquest, and Arch spells directly on your ally's avatar to help them move.
You can even spend 8 mana tokens to cast Scribe on an ally's avatar, or spend 6 mana tokens to remove a Forcefield token for them.
But you may not attack a rival player's avatar using an ally's avatar.
Now, what happens if you move an ally onto a relic or enchanted tile?
Well, the relic can only be acquired by the avatar's owner at the end of their own turn. Same logic applies to opened enchanted tiles.
Exactly. Relic bonuses and penalties are always tied to the avatar's owner and not to the caster who moved the avatar.
Conversely, removing an ally's avatar from an enchanted tile will immediately end any active effect from that tile for the avatar's owner.
And while you can move each other's avatars around, you can never exchange spells, relics, or mana tokens with your ally.
And that covers everything you need to know to start your first game of Relic Rush.
Thank you for joining us for this guide. Have fun and happy rushing!
Subscribe.